guys, I want to start something new and try to bring to your attention a couple tickers, maybe a couple times a week, if I can, daily, just depending on when I see them and when they stand out to me, and when I have time to make these videos for you. But I called out this morning Wish and Sava in the video that I put out, and Wish ran 7.5% on the day, and Sava ran 5.23% and was up 6% at one point today. But both of these stocks, if you haven't watched the video already, have a long way more to run. So go back and watch that. If you could just like and subscribe for me, and we're going to get started. The two charts that I want to bring to your attention today are IMPP and IRNT. Both of these stocks have been really heavily beat down, and I finally think that we either found or are very close to a bottom here. So I want you to add them to your watch list, and I want to show you exactly what it is I'm seeing and exactly what my expectations are going forward on these two stocks and why I think that they make great swing trades. Again, nothing I say is financial advice, but let's get started. IRNT, otherwise known as IRNT Inc., is a stock that I've been watching for when we start to have a tech rotation. And guys, after what I saw today, I'm not sure if we're getting a fake out, short covering, or if we're starting to see some sector rotation out of oil and energy and into biotech and tech stocks. So here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the daily 5-minute chart right now. As you see, yesterday it basically traded sideways. And then after market, we had a 1348 cross under. So again, the green is my 13, the purple is my 48, and I trade on a 1348. This morning at market open, you started seeing it go up again from the 266 range. We got a crossover around 10:30, somewhere in that range, guys, where it crossed above the 13, crossed back above the 48 SMA. And as you can see, we traded upward the entire day and finished the day strong. And I expect to see the upward trend continue again tomorrow. But again, it's all going to depend on market condition. And I want to take a look at the larger charts to show you what I'm seeing in IronNet. But anyways, we finished the day off strong, closing out the day at 294. Currently in after hours, we're at 295. So we're pretty much staying about the same. They did try to dip it and some other stocks right under. I think they did some stop loss hunting at one point. But we're back to where we closed out on, actually a penny higher. Let's take a look at the longer time frame. 1 sec, guys. Okay, so I'm looking at the 1-year chart, but I zoomed out the last 10 days because as you can see, the moving averages are very, very close together right now, which generally happens right before we get a big move up, guys, which is what I'm anticipating with IronNet, because when I zoom out to show you the entire chart, you'll see exactly what has gone on with this ticker and why I've been watching it. However, what we're seeing right now is that the 13 is still just barely under the 48. The 48 and 20 are very close together, guys, and it looks like the 20 is about to cross above the 48 moving average, which is a very bullish indicator. So I do believe that we're going to continue seeing an uptrend with IronNet, but guys, it is still far below the 200-day moving average, which is at $7.20. So we have a long way up to go, which this could be a great time to get into the stock, but just be careful. And, if you're going to trade it, not financial advice, but consider setting stop losses, maybe giving yourself a decent range to go down. I don't know what your risk tolerance is, but there's a lot of room to the upside. Let me just zoom out and show you the full daily 1-year chart right now so you can get a better idea of what's going on. As you can see, it's very difficult for me to show you because the moving averages are so close together right here, which is why I just showed you the last 10 days. However, this stock originally, way back here, was around $10. I don't know the history of it, but it looks to me the way it was trading that it was originally a SPAC. This down candle was probably the time when shareholders could have sold out of their SPAC and gotten their cash back if they wanted to before it transferred over to IRNT. Again, this is based on assumption. I don't know. But generally when you see this $10 range for a very long time, that's why. And then you notice that probably when it de-SPAC'd, it got a big run up all the way to the high of, let's see, $47.50, guys. IRNT was $47.50 back on September 16th of 2021. That's just insane. And ever since it got that high, it quickly got shorted. Like, look at this short ladder attack. Very heavily shorted. I'm sure this was not just shorting. This was people selling out of their position, not wanting to hold for this falling knife downward. Again, you see back here in October that the 13 started crossing under the 20, and then still in October under the 48 moving average, indicating, guys, that if anyone was swing trading this from way back here, that would be a sell signal. Okay, but then once again, we see that momentum came back into the stock. This candle here, it got a run all the way from a low of $10.41 to a high of $17, guys. And as you can see, it met resistance at the 48-day moving average. You know, the 48 and 50, guys, are basically going to run parallel. The 48 just gives you, for me anyways, it gives me a very exact indicator as to what the trend is before hitting the 50. So I know when to exit and enter a trade. So to me, it got very strong resistance off of the 50 SMA or the 48 SMA. And then you see it fell right back down. It did have a little bit of an area where it tried to move back above the higher moving average, above the 20, but never got back above that 48 over there, guys. It fell all the way down to a low of around $2. I mean, if you look in here, who knows, it may have even gotten right below $2, but let's just call it $2. So hit a low here of around $2, and then we see that it did get some momentum back at that time. I mean, God, that's a $47 stock down to $2, and it started trying to run again, guys. And we see that it did, for a brief time, have a crossover. The 13 crossed above the 48 back in March, and it got a run again. But at that time, it only got to a high of $7.12 before it started falling off again, guys. And then eventually you got the 13 that crossed back under, that's the 20, crossed back under the 48 moving average over here, guys, somewhere around the $4 range. Okay, so then it continued to fall back down and has basically been trying to get back above. It did briefly, way back here in the beginning of June, make an attempt, but it just failed, guys. But now it's back to making that attempt again. You can see it's been pretty much running parallel, and like I just showed you, any day now I believe we're going to get the daily cross, and I believe that we're going to see a massive move up again in this ticker, especially if sector rotation is going back into tech stocks, guys, which I believe it is, because it's seriously beat down. I mean, look at this. These candles, they went down to as low as, you know, $2.11. That's pretty bad off of its high. So this has a lot of room to grow at $2.95. Something you guys should seriously consider for a swing trade, because I think there's a lot of money to be made here. We just want to be certain that we're not getting in too early, because look, it's been running like this for a couple months now, in that, you know, ranging $2 to $3. And trust me, I've been watching it, trying to catch it for a good entry point. I think I bought some options around when it was about to cross the last time that, guys, they just expired worthless, because I kept thinking that it could be any day. You see how close it is, but it just never happened. And by the time it was close to selling, I said, you know, for a couple of bucks, I'd rather just run the risk that it's going to have a massive run. But I do have some that I kept for a much later date that probably are going to go into the money tomorrow, because I think I bought them at $3. So that's exciting. But anyways, maybe a time to load the boat and buy some more, because I think, like I said, that we're going to see some more running here. So definitely keep IRNT on your watch list. I think you'll be very successful with that as a swing trade. Or, you know, if you're afraid to hold anything in this market, I hear you. Consider it for a day trade. Who knows how quick it could go up, guys. I think there's a lot of shorts to cover here, and I think that's what we started seeing today. All right, there's IRNT for you. Hi everyone, I'm going to discuss IMPP, which is Imperial Petroleum Inc. I apologize if I repeat anything for the second half of the video, which I definitely want you guys to watch because there's a lot of bullish indicators in that. But I thought that I better, after I filmed it, I better show you the 5-minute chart real quick because that gives you a better indicator of what's happening in the short term. So I'm looking at the last 2 days on the 5-minute chart. So today around 10 a.m., we got the 13, which crossed below the 48, guys, at around 49 cents. And we came down, tried to come back up, couldn't quite get over it to move to the upside. But then around 2 p.m., the 13 briefly crossed back above the 48 before it crossed back under and crossed back above right here, which was probably around 4 o'clock end of day. Right at the end of the day, we got it cross above. And in the after hours, it crossed below, and now we're trying to curve. I think tomorrow open, we curve to the upside, and like you'll see in the rest of the video, my predictions for what happens coming into next week. But I definitely am bullish on this ticker. Please watch the other half so you can see some massive indicators that are very, very bullish. And this right here, guys, is all consolidation. This is awesome. This is exactly what we want, which is why you see these very narrow, crossover, cross unders. So nothing wrong here. Low volume in the after hours, fairly low volume on the day because there's not much movement to be seen here. But I think tomorrow and the beginning of the next week, we're going to see lots of volume coming into this play with a huge move to the upside. So let me bring up the 1-year chart and show you why. Hi guys, I wanted to quickly show you the 1-year chart of IMPP because I really feel like something's going on with this ticker. We all know that it's heavily shorted, that followed by the dilution that it recently had where they sold more shares. But there's something crazy here and I can't put a finger on it. So maybe you guys can help me out. But I definitely think it bears watching and should be on everyone's watch list, because it did set off some signals that have been indicative in other tickers as a potential short squeeze candidate. And you can look at True Demon's video that he did regarding 3 tickers that were Mullen, Redbox, and I forget what the third one was. I think it was BBIG, but I could be wrong. But anyways, just look at his short squeeze video. And then he did another video where I saw him discussing IMPP and some of the similarities. So I don't know where it stands right now, but I definitely think that it bears watching for everybody because we're hitting a critically low point again, where we close the day at 49.2 cents. Well, that's where we sit right now, according to this chart anyways, in the after hours. But, and our candles are like really flat, guys, like dojis, meaning a reversal's coming soon. Usually when you see these candles, that's what the indicator is. And also you'll notice that the 13, which is my green, has crossed above my 20 SMA, which is bullish. Now we just need the 13 to cross above the 48. Again, this is on the daily 1-year chart. But what I want to draw your attention to is way back here. Okay, look at this huge, massive green candle where this was a low of 40 cents, guys. 40 cents. And this candle went all the way up to $8.30. A low of 40 cents is what it opened at, to a high of $8.30. And I believe that this is when this stock went public, which was not that long ago, December 6, 2021, because we're looking at the 1-year chart, right? And it would have gone all the way back to June of 2021 had it been out earlier. So this is the first day this stock came to the market. It got bought up like mad crazy. Look at that. Closed out the day at $7.50. And then you just see a massive, massive amount of shorting and selling off. But this looks like a short ladder attack. See how it goes down like a ladder? And I'm sure it was combined with selling, don't get me wrong. But it's probably a combination of both, right? Then you start to see it's consolidating, trading sideways for a significant period of time, guys. Then just has a dip with a gap fill, okay? Again, looks like a short ladder attack. Short it right down. But then this candle here is pretty significant because it went from a low of 107 to a high of $2.36, but they shot it right back down. It closed out the day at 116, and I should mention the open was 146 on this candle. But guys, look what it did the next day. It gapped up, okay? It opened at $2.23, had a low of $2.13, and a high of $3.45 when it was all the way up here. But again, it closed close to the low at $2.18, which is why you see this inverse hammer right here. But guess what, guys? Boom! The very next day, it opens up, gaps down again for a low of 95.25 cents and a high of $1.08. But it opened at 105. So it closed at 218 and opened at 105. And guys, I wasn't in this in February. I have no idea what happened. Perhaps they did an offering or bad press came out or something that brought this all the way back down. But look at this. Just constant shorting and I'm sure selling out because people are scared. Who the heck wants to hold this when it just keeps going down? It's a falling knife. But then look at these moves that go up, just like jumping. Anyways, finally we see indicators that we're going to be starting an uptrend. Look at right here when this 13 crossed above the 20, which we have now, okay? It just kept riding up until look at right here. The 13 eventually crossed above the 48 moving average. And look at, guys, big moves back up. This candle alone went from a low of 214 to a high of 344. Then look at this massive gap up, guys. This candle went from a low of 435 to a high of $8.40. Closed out the day at 750. The following day, another massive move. A low of 371 with a high of 970. Closed out the day at 425. But again, guys, it tried to pick up that bullish momentum still. But unfortunately, it lost out. So we have a gap fill, interestingly enough, which is why I'm drawing this whole chart to your attention. Here, we knew it was probably going to come back down again, guys, because there was a gap fill here on that ride up. And this candle wicked down. It didn't quite get to where this candle is. So, you know, it is what it is. It didn't fill that gap. So we knew it was going to come down likely again. But went up first, had a gap fill here. I'm going to show you. The low of this candle right here was $4.73. And the high of this candle here was $4.43. So it created a 30-cent gap between $4.43 and $4.73 that still hasn't been filled. And again, when a gap doesn't get filled, 9 times out of 10, well, actually 99% of the time, I believe is more like it. It's going to come back and fill that gap eventually, guys. So, continues to fall down. We eventually crossed back under the 13. First, it crossed under the 20. It didn't cross under the 48 until we got all the way over here, guys. But this created another gap. And I just want to see if this one was completely filled, because if not, we could have 2 gap fills. So the low of this candle is $2.25. Let me see what the high of this one is. Make sure it's on the right one. Yeah, this one was filled, guys. This 229 was the high of this one. So this filled that gap there. So we don't have that to look forward to. And then this one obviously got filled too. But you see, we did get the 13 crossing above the 20 again here. So not that many days ago. And it's been kind of just running stagnant since. What we want is some price action based on these flat candles. I'm expecting a move soon to the upside. And then we want this 13 to cross back above that 48 moving average, guys, and that will bring us back into an uptrend once we get that bullish indicator. But look at, they're playing with fire as far as I'm concerned here, because they're at 49 cents. How much lower do they want to test this limit? If they bring it all the way back down to 40 cents again, which they may have done in some of these candles, they did. In these candles, 38 was the low, 40 cents. And then look at the bullish momentum that comes in. So there's definitely bullish momentum that's going to come back into this play, and it's very heavily short, and we all saw what started happening today. We have shorts closing positions, so I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow we have a massive candle and we go up, either that or the beginning of next week, because you know how they are on Fridays with options. It's very stressful because it's just crazy. It shows you that, you know, the stock market is definitely becoming more and more like a casino every day. But stay bullish, stay strong on IMPP. You know, I haven't sold my shares because I see what's going on here and I know what's coming. And I know, which is what I wanted to point out to you, about this gap fill here. And I know that there's some huge candles. So when this wants to get moving, it can get moving. And guys, I know it's been diluted since, so it may not, you know, be easy to get it back to these levels, you know, of $9, $8, but most certainly we can get it back into that $4 to $5 range, in my honest opinion, short term. Long term will definitely get back here, in my opinion, but again, this is all my opinion, and based on what I'm seeing in the chart, guys, it won't be long before we make a nice move up again. And keep in mind, when you're feeling bad about this ticker, that 40 cents to $8.30 in one day, guys, that's a $7.90 candle. That's massive, especially on a penny stock. That's just crazy. And, you know, they've been getting tons of good press, so it's definitely not lack of that. Another thing I want to point out to you is that we actually formed when we start making a line up, we will have formed a W, which I think is what this chart is doing, and a double bottom. We have our bottom here, right? And we have our bottom here. This is a double bottom with this slightly lower than this lowest candle. This lowest candle, which is 48 cents, was the lowest it got here, guys. This is very bullish within itself from a technical standpoint, okay? So now I just want to start seeing these lower moving averages cross above. That's very, very important and a key indicator. And there's no 200 SMA because the stock hasn't been trading for 200 days yet, so we don't have that to compare it to. So we just want to see these lower time frames cross above the 4850 SMA, okay? That will mean that we're bullish. We should be back in an uptrend, and I think we're going to see this W formation right here, okay? So hang in there. Good things are definitely coming for IMPP. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's coming sooner than we think. All right, have a great night, everyone.